Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday. It is a cool Monday, currently 43 degrees. And going to be a high of around 66 with a waning gibbous moon. And, this little cool shock, going down to 43, it might turn the fish back on. They might want to be hungry and eat today. It'd be a good day to try your luck out there on the water. However, for me, I'm back on the work grind, so not for this guy this day. We have been in the study of Job, and we're in Job chapter 28. Job chapter 28, and this chapter is just a masterful literary work. The poem, the poetry, and the um, you know, literary imagery used in here is just, um, I mean, it's genius. It is genius. Of course, it's written by God, right? And then, so this is the kind of like a quiet before Job gets into his final defense in 29 through 31 before Elihu rebukes them. Um, so it's going to get tough. Um, but here, this is kind of like the um, interlude, I guess, going into it, coming into the um, kind of conclusion of it, and um, I think I'm not going to jump into 29 today because 29, 30, and 31 are part of one speech, and this is a little different. And but I don't know how tomorrow I can do all three chapters. It's just not in 15 minutes. So I don't know. I'll pray about that and see what we're gonna do. Maybe I'll just hit a few verses from each one of that of 29 through 31, um, because you know it. You read it and let it speak to you. But I do. This chapter 28 is wonderful. So verses 1 through 11, it's a poem, and it's a poem about mining. Okay, and um, verse 1: surely there is a mine for silver and a place for gold that they refine. Iron is taken out of the earth, and copper is smelted from one ore. Okay. Then it says, verse 3: man puts an end to darkness and searches out the farthest limit, the ore in gloom and deep darkness. The farthest limit, the ore in gloom and deep darkness. So, now, you have to take the literal, right? So, man, when they're mining, they go down deep into the dark place. They From one ore, they get uh, uh, their copper, right, from iron. Okay, so it's from we're learning about the mining business, um, but now in the poetic or in the spiritual sense, you know, man will search for or try to satiate um, their needs or their appetites, right? Either sinful needs or their need for the Lord, and we will search and go uh, to the center of the earth to satiate them, to find them, to find what is precious to us. So for some, we dig down into the darkness to fill that appetite of sin. Some of us, we dig down into the darkness to find the Lord. See? And out of both of those comes that filling, right? So out of one appetite, we get both fillings, the iron or the copper and the copper. Um, but either way, we'll go to the furthest limit. Then it says in verse 4, he opens the shaft in a valley away from where anyone lives. They are forgotten by travelers. They hang in the air, far away from mankind. They swing to and fro. Um, when I was looking at a commentary, it says, there's not enough research on ancient Hebrew mining operations to kind of know exactly what they're talking about, but you uh, can glean something from this. So, where does he put them? Where does he start to mine? In the valley, away from anyone. So they're out. They're in the outskirts. They're not in the cities. They're not right around town. They're not in the fields where that are right there that feed the city. They're beyond that. Okay, they're beyond that, away from where anyone lives. They are forgotten by travelers. They might not, travelers walking by might not even see them, right? They're obscure. They don't impact the roadways crossing from city to city. Um, they hang in the air, far away from mankind. They swing to and fro. So they actually go as they glean everything they can from it. They go and find a new one, and you know, isn't that just like us? Isn't that just like us in our sinful nature? We try to hide our darkness. We try to hide our sin. We try to keep it to ourselves. We try not to let anybody know what's going on, right? When we use up one, we'll go to another. Um, we will swing, back and forth on it. It's very interesting, the likeness between the mining operation of ore and the mining operation of the heart, right? The mining operation of the heart. As for the earth, out it comes bread, but underneath it is turned up as by fire. So here we're comparing how a miner uses fire for refining versus how we get bread, right? And so underneath it, and underneath it is where bread, right? Bread is on top, wheat is on top, and that operation is there in the light, and it's for the good and all that. But the underneath it, that where they get it from, it says it's turned up by fire, right? And that's, isn't that how we shed our sin, and how we come the trials are described as fire in many instances, and that separating of the dross, that smelting process, that the uh, getting rid of the impurities by fire, right? It's hot, right? It's hot when we try to separate the sin from the heart. It has to get hot. Its stones are a place of sapphires, and its dust of gold. The path no bird of prey knows, and the falcon's eye has not seen it. Where um, our I guess our good parts are, right? Where the sapphires are, and the dust of gold. Um, in the unregenerate man, nobody's seen it. Not even the most keen eye of the most keen bird, a falcon's eye, the most keen eye, can see goodness, can see the dust, the gold, the sapphires in the sinful man, right? Nobody can. Now, as we get going, we'll see that God understands, right? God understands. I gotta keep it moving. We'll run out of time. I'll never get through this. He got channels in the rocks. His eyes see every precious thing. Um, you know, God is in the rubble, the underground, the hidden. He's the one who sees all those things, right? And you know, man, he's just digging through and doesn't know the good in it. He just sees the lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, pride of life. He doesn't see the um, God behind it. He just sees what he can get out of it, right? And so he'll cut away. He cuts at things. He'll do anything he can to get that, as opposed to um, get salvation. But verse 12. Let's. But where shall wisdom be found? And where is the place of understanding? Where? Right? And this is essentially the question Job's been trying to answer for the entire time that he's been questioned by his friends. Man does not know its worth, and it is not found in the land of the living. That's right. Wisdom is not found in the land of the living. It is not something that the carnal man can have, because, and we'll find out in verse 28, behold, fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to turn away from evil is understanding. That cannot be done in our carnal state. It can only be done in a regenerate state, in a born again state, in a state of submission and being subservient to Jesus Christ our Lord. That's the only way. And so man does not know its worth. We can't. Now listen to this. This is a great description, 14 through 18, of the value of wisdom and understanding. Listen. The deep says, it is not in me, and the sea says, it is not with me. Okay? Even like no human has gone to the deepest depths of the deep. There's unexplored areas under the ocean, right? And even the deep doesn't understand it. The deep is not smart enough, does not have the wisdom to see it. The sea says it is not with me. It cannot be bought for gold, and silver cannot be weighed as its price. It is. There's no value we can place on this, on wisdom and understanding. All right, gold and glass cannot equal it, nor can it be exchanged for jewels of fine gold. No mention shall be made of coral or crystal. The price of wisdom is above pearls. The topaz of Ethiopia cannot equal it, nor can it be valued in pure gold. There's nothing that can place a value on, not necessarily wisdom and understanding, because that's the value in fear of the Lord. There is no value on that, the fear, that reverence of God that makes us want to cling to our relationship with Him, and know Him in our heart, also in our mind, but to know Him in our heart surpasses even that intellectual knowing Him. It's that relational love of Him. That's where the fear, that reverence comes from. It comes from the heart, see? Because we don't have the minds capable of actually intellectually knowing Him. His knowledge and wisdom and understanding, we'll never understand the breadth, nor height, nor width, nor depth of it, right? So, and we ought to try, but we ought to try because we love Him. We ought to try because we love Him. Now it says, from where then does wisdom come from? And where is the place of understanding? Back to that question. Back to the question, right? Then he says, Abaddon and Death say, we have heard a rumor of it with our ears. Yeah, destruction and death knows a rumor of it, and that's why they try to prevent us from getting it. See, they know it's in fear of the Lord, but they try to get us to either skip over that, not see it, stay in our own selves, or scare us away from fear of the Lord. Then it says, so Abaddon and death, destruction and death, say, we have heard a rumor with our ears. God understands the way to it. He knows its place, for he looks to the ends of the earth and sees everything under the heavens. When he gave to the wind its weight and appointed the waters by measure. A lot there. So if Abaddon knows that God understands these things, and death knows that God understands these things, and they know that God, he knows its place, and they know that he, God, looks to the ends of the earth and sees everything under the heavens, and they know, death and Abaddon, that he gave the wind its weight and apportioned it the waters by measure. So if the enemies of God, destruction and death, and the demonic and Satan know it, why don't we? If they reverence, they, in a sense, have fear of the Lord, why don't we? Why don't we? Now, some of these things, when you actually process them out, so God has the wisdom and understanding to give wind weight. Does wind weigh anything? I mean, we can feel it, and when it's whipping real hard, we can put a miles per hour on it, I guess. But does it weigh anything? Is it bound by gravity? I don't know, but guess who does? God, right? What about the measure of the waters, right? What about the measure of the waters? You know, God, he knows the measure of the oceans, the rivers, the ponds, the puddles, the rain. He knows the measure of the waters, and any other kind of water I didn't know to write or whatever. Like, he knows it. He knows it in the measuring cup, right? And so that is where wisdom and understanding lies. It lies with God, but we can only attain that through fear of the Lord by regeneration. See, by regeneration. In our carnal state, we'll never see it. We're in our carnal state, we're rolling with death and destruction. We're rolling with Abaddon. We're seeking to fulfill and satiate the lusts of the heart, the lust of man, the 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 wealth. But when we're regenerate and we're saved and we're born again, we're looking to satiate that desire, the desire of sanctification, that desire of being closer to the Lord, that desire with walking with God in a relationship here, right? That'll spring a desire to further our relationship here, but it comes from here. It comes from here, y'all. All right, you guys, have a great day.